What's poppin', savvy investors? It's your Savvy Investor Dex here, back with another banger. And I know I've been gone for a while. I've been super busy, got a lot of cases I'm gonna update you guys on, but not in this video. This video is not for that. This video is all about credibility. So strap in, wherever you're from, however you say it, story time. So guys, credibility. Let me tell you about somebody I'm working with in the business. One of my students. I have a partnership program. Some people, refer to themselves as my students. I don't necessarily call it that. I don't charge people that. I don't charge people. I don't want y'all to think I got some, behind the scene mentorship that I charge people on. No, nothing like that. However, I will explain how that goes in another video. Anyway, so one of my students / partners got in the business about, I guess, maybe a month ago. He hit the ground running. He started taking action, which is the most important part about making money in any business, is taking action. So he started taking action, right? He found some people. First of all, he found some leads, then he found the people, okay? When he approached the people, he didn't necessarily have what I would say enough credibility to get the paperwork signed or to even present the paperwork in a way, right? It's your first couple of deals. You don't know how to do it. And even for those that are experienced, if you aren't seasoned in, I would say, some type of sales, it's a bit different, the objections you'll get in the overage business. When you're calling somebody, and they got $100,000 owed to them, you're gonna run into a lot of, this is a scam, obviously, right? So to avoid that, and I don't want to say to avoid it, but however, to lighten that blow of this being a scam, it's always great when you can lead with credibility. So when you're going into these conversations with people, when you first make contact with people, you need to know when this property went to auction, whose name was on the property. If you're not reaching out to the actual person's name on the property that was sold at auction, then you need to know which area you're reaching out to, or a family member, and you need to be able to explain to them which heir you're looking for, or you're looking for an heir of X, Y, and Z of X, Y, and Z property that possibly sold around 2015, right? When you have certain data that you can just lead with, that's going to provide a level of credibility. Now, when you actually get that claimant on the phone, or you get in front of that claimant, there's a whole nother level of credibility that I like to lead with. Personally, I don't give the number away to the people unless they already know. To clients, I just don't give the number away, guys. People have went around me, and I spend a lot of money to get to my leads. I have no problem with people getting the money themselves. However, they're not going to get the money due to my hard work. Sorry, that's just my intellectual property. I own that. That's how I feel. Back to our regular scheduled programming. So when you get in front of these people, you're going to have to lead with a level of credibility that's I would say over and beyond, right? So when I come into an appointment, I'm explaining to them a scenario on how the business goes. So when I sit down, explain to them who I am, ask them have they went over the website. If they've went over the website, then I'll briefly go over it. If they hadn't went over the website, I'll pull up my website on my phone or pull it up on their phone. Hey, check this out. This kind of explains in a nutshell what we do. Now, my website is tailored in a way where it explains the process. So when I bring them the fee of 30% minimum, it's not so much of a debate. It's never a negotiation, because I set it up in the beginning with credibility. So I send them to my website, they check it out. At that point, I give them a story on something, or on a case that I previously had. So this is how this typically works. And these are the certain obstacles that can get in our way. This is why the money could or could not be there. This is why I don't know exactly how much is there. There's just tons of reasons depending on where you're working, right? I mean, sometimes it'll say $100,000 was deposited in 2015, but in 2023 it's $104,000, right? Or $108,000. These are interest-bearing accounts. I'm not sure if all of them are, but the markets I work, they're definitely interest-bearing accounts, right? So the number could change in there for all sorts of reasons. You want to be able to give them scenarios, stories that they can relate to in regards to their case. Now, when you pivot from stories and getting them familiar with the business, you want to pivot around to their case. Hey, So you own this property, XYZ Main Street, in 2010. Y'all own this property. They typically are gonna go into a story explaining to you what was going on at that period in life. Oh, my husband got this in his name and he started a business and it screwed our credit up. I lost a job, somebody died. It's always something crazy that happens because that's foreclosure, guys. Like foreclosures, people are in drastic situations. I also buy these properties from people if I can before the foreclosure even happens. However, that's another video. I'm able to relate that story that I told them to their actual funds in the court. So this is why you may have funds due to the property being sold at auction, right? That gives me enough credibility. So when I go in for the close and I say, is there anything else you'd like to know? Is there any other decision makers before we move forward? And they typically say no, and I pull out the paperwork and we get to sign it, right? However, if they have any questions, I'm always able to fall back on what I've explained to them previously in our conversation. So if they say, let's see, they'll typically say, so will your fee agreement change? Or if there's less money in there, like will I get less? You just simply explain to them, well, our fee agreement stays the same. You know, our 35% or 30% or whatever you got. Our fee agreement stays the same regardless if it's $10,000 or if it's $1,000. We're gonna get 30%, right? And that 10% for us, the way I'll give you guys a little tidbit for those of you that stand to the end of this video. I'm about to wrap this one up. It's a bit cold out here, but I justify my 10% by 3 layers in my business that I explain to people, and I'll give it to you here. We have a locator, we have a researcher, and we have a legal team. So we have a research team, a locate team, and a legal team. The locate team is normally the locators that I'm working with that finds this claimant. I pay that person. I have a research team of virtual assistants that I pay. And I have a legal team that I pay to get this stuff done. So when I bring 30% to them, I can justify why it's a minimum of 30%. Even if I come in and say 40%, you know, I still can explain that, hey, these are the pillars of the business that has to be paid for, and the minimum of that is 10%. There are other reasons why I would do 40%. I'll explain that in another video. I want you guys to understand that if you're not getting deals in this business, it's not because you don't necessarily know what you're doing. It's because you don't know how to make people feel comfortable and credible, or you don't know how to present yourself as credible and make people feel comfortable in doing business with you. So I hope this video added some value to you. It's your Savvy Investor Dex. I'm out.